of Mexico, and all these other pyramids down in here just tie into, like, you know, islands and all sorts of things. Now, granted, a lot of these islands are below water because of the thaw we're in. Okay, mountain ranges line up with mountain ranges. Mountain ranges line up with mountain ranges 180 degrees from each other and on the same approximate latitude. The Himalayas tie into the Sierra Nevada, Rockies, and Appalachian Mountains. The North Andes tie into Indonesia, Singapore, Sumatra, Bali, that whole string of islands down there above Australia. And then Australia ties into South America, and ties into South America. Antarctica ties into Antarctica, 180 degrees away from each other and on the same latitude. So the mountains, you could throw a baseball at the mountains that you're tying into. And then Africa and Europe tie into submerged mountains in the North and South Pacific. They also tie in, there's a mountain in the Sudan that ties into close to the Hawaiian hotspot, and that's the Nile Valley pyramids and everything kind of line up with those mountains. A lot of times pyramids are working off of the gravitational density of mountains, and they're like fine-tuning it or increasing or decreasing it. It depends on what you want to do, and controlling magma streams deep in the Earth's core. So this is it right here. These are pretty neat, like, assembly graphic of mountains. Everest, I believe Everest is, and maybe K2 or Kilimanjaro. They all tie into 3 of the mountain ranges in the U.S. The Rockies, the Sierra Nevadas, and the Appalachians. I don't know why I can't remember. I'm living on the Appalachian Mountains, but anyways, it's the Appalachians. These things actually tie into the super caldera in Wyoming, so at Yellowstone, in Yellowstone Park. So these are, in alignment with Yellowstone. It's like, Yellowstone's like a mountain dun. It never grew to be a mountain. The magma pool got so big, it couldn't overcome its own mass, and it just sits in there, and it's like a big plume of magma just below the Earth's surface. Okay, a message from a Type 3 society, one that controls the environment by harnessing gravity. It's like, what am I at for time here? Oh, I'm rolling. Okay, so there's the tetrahedron. This is all made up of hexagons. Tree of Life is made up of hexagons. The 64-point tetrahedron is made up of hexagons. Nassim Harriman out there with his project on, I think he's on the Big Island, Hawaii, doing a lot of work, getting pyramids right here, and it's pretty fascinating work that he's doing out there. We're kind of like at different ends of the spectrum. He's into whatever he's into, and I'm more of a nuts and bolts type of guy, doing the mechanics of what's actually happening to the gravity wave on the planet. This double torus is pretty creative, brilliant idea, but I have some other ideas, when it comes to some of the work he's doing. I'd like to, maybe someday we'll talk. Who knows? Okay, right here. Now, it would appear that the ancients, in their infinite wisdom, knew we were going to go up and down in our knowledge and our abilities, because of cataclysms. Cataclysms on Earth are just normal. They just happen over a period of time, for whatever reason. If you want to get into the logic of why you would design something like that, it's not that difficult to figure out why you would do that. So this is the sun, this is Horus, this is the sun, and this little guy is a snake. The serpent. The serpent is the symbol of gravity, reaching back from hundreds of thousands of years ago. All right, Horus with the sun disk on his head. The serpent is the ancient sign for gravity. Gravity is the force that powers the sun. The reason the serpent was chosen to represent gravity is because the snake's skin is made up of hexagonal shaped scales. The hexagonal shaped scales also, the hexagons also make up the tree of life, and make up the 64-point tetrahedron. So these snakes, a lot of these snakes, if you look at the scales, the skin, they actually have a hexagon shape, 6-sided shape. So, you know, it's at the subatomic structure of below, you know, at the genetic structure of a snake. And so it ties in, but you have to look at this stuff, you know, I mean, you got to know what's I mean, this hexagonal stuff is passed down through the ages, tetrahedron, the hexagon, and, you know, the tree of life. And then you have, you know, the symbol of gravity. And gravity actually powers the sun. It powers everything in the universe, really, for the most part. Except your car going down the road. But that's what we're here to change. That's all this. This is all about shifting the paradigm into the gravity controlling existence on Earth. So here's the serpent pyramid in Mexico, the Chichen Itza equinox. Now this during this equinox, when the sun's moving, this thing is actually moving down the side of the staircase here, and you get the big serpent. Another big billboard sign, hey people, these things are gravity machines and need to be kept in good working order. Okay, so another sign showing the serpent shadow moving down the side, meaning the serpent is gravity and that the pyramid is a gravity condensing lens. All right, at the beginning of the shoe, I was talking about we having a really good shoe tonight. I was talking about the densitogram that was financed by the EDF Foundation. H.C. Buey headed the microgravity reading project in the 80s. Painstakingly take 1,000 upon 1,000 microgravity readings, create the densitogram. This is the densitogram. Densitogram shows a gravity wave changing the density of the stone on the pyramid and the stratification of the gravity wave. So, you know, because you have focal points inside of the pyramid, you are constant. You have different. In this particular pyramid, you have 3 major focal points in the pyramid, and you are creating a denser than normal area in the center line of that pyramid. Thus, you are pulling in more gravitons into these areas. So you have a high, low, high, low. This would be high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. So there's like 7 stratification zones here, which is what the count would be if you have 3 focal points inside this pyramid. Now, mind you, this thing has been hacked up, beat up, damaged, looted, robbed, blown up, weathered, and you name it. Everybody and his brothers had their way with this poor girl. We got to fix this thing right here. Now, if this thing was in its heyday, you know, just built, everything was sealed up. You have, you know, the nice limestone casing on it, and you have dense material inside the focal points. These lines would be razor sharp. They'd be laser sharp, like this laser beam that I'm whipping around here. It'd be like a razor, just boom, 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 and you would see it perfect. It'd be alive. And now she's dying, she's waning, she's on her way out. The moon and this goes, we go. The moon and the pyramids work to control magma currents. There you go, there's the moon again right there. You can see a little face up here on the side, there's an ear. I'll show you another flip, it's pretty cool, but you can't really see it that good in that particular picture. But this is the middle pyramid, pyramid number 2, which is Caffrey, and obviously there's a Sphinx. So this is just a combination of the energy. There's the moon. This is your connecting rod to the magma streams down below. It's like the planet's a 4-stroke engine. You have two pulls and 2 releases a day with the moon and with the spinning of the planet. So 2 high tides, 2 low tides. So you get two pulls and 2 releases a day everywhere on the planet. You know, well, within you know, the elliptic of the planet, which is, I think it's like between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, that the moon, I don't think the moon goes above or below that. It's almost the same as the sun. Anyways, it still reaches up past that, but the actual high density gravitational pull from the moon is in those areas, between those areas. So anyways, moving right along at the speed of light here. That's your system, that's your engine. I just can't help myself. It's the a moon of the moon. As above, so below. The moon is powering the tidal forces on our planet Earth. The moon is also powering the magma currents below the Earth's crust through geometrical shaped mass, i.e. pyramids, mountains, and volcanoes. Everything that sticks above the ocean in a geometrical shape of any, you know, sizable mass is considered a lens in Shaughnessy mechanics, and will condense the gravity wave in the center line of said mass, okay, and pull the gravitational force, the gravity wave towards itself, and flex the neutral zone down the center of the Earth. So this guy, I was looking for the moon for this slide. This is the blood moon, or the pink moon in April. Everybody's freaking out about it, all running for cover. Well, anyways, you know, this is I dubbed him Amun. I think Amun is the root word for the moon. That's where the moon term came from. Somebody lost a few letters along the way, but anyway, you can see an eye here, an ear, the lips are right here. There's actually another eye here. This guy's been getting beaten up for like hundreds of thousands of years. So with meteorites and strikes and, you know, what do you call it there? Corona mass ejections from the sun, you name it. So he's actually weathered pretty well. You can still make him out. It's a face. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Look at the geometry. The whole head is there. I've had like logical, intelligent people look at that and they're not seeing anything. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You can't see that? You know, I think they're afraid of it or something. It's as big as day, you know. And then they labeled me with one of those conditions or that you have when you see faces. I see faces, you know. I see a lot of stuff, but I don't want to get into it. But anyway, this is a tectonic plate design. This is a convergent where it laps underneath the continents, the continental crust. This is the, you know, what do you call it, the ocean crust. And we have the mid-ocean ridge right here. This is the spread. This is the new stuff, the new plate that gets created by this magma force in between the two. And this is like a horizontal boundary where they slide side to side. This is a great photo because it shows a hot spot, and all it shows like where the Hawaiian Islands are actually in its own little way. So you got the ridge. This is the west. This is the western plate, and as in the Pacific, this thing is in the western plate. Bermuda's in the western plate in the Atlantic, and the Sri Lanka is on the western plate of the subduction zone. It's not as defined as the Pacific and the Atlantic, so there's the Indian Ocean's a weird place, but yeah, we'll get into that a little later. So anyway, the western plate's moving 4 inches to Japan over here, and a year, and then the eastern plate is moving towards California, Americas, 2 inches a year. Of course, they're going against the rotation of the planet, and the one in the west is going with the rotation of the planet. Another reason that they might have put this hot spot in there is to slow this down, is to basically puncture the natural convection vertical currents that supply this ridge. They can puncture the one on the left and slow it down, therefore it would go slower. So there's these guys were planet designers, planet builders that put this together. You got to look at, you really got to back out. If you want to understand this technology, you got to actually get into the mind of somebody that's building a planet. Okay, you got to incorporate everything in a planet designed like Earth, and what would you do as a builder to basically control the tectonic plates. All it's about is tectonic plate control, for the most part. What is it all about? Okay, here's another a great little picture here. It shows Giza. I got to see through it because that's what it is. It's actually see-through. It's a lens. It's a glass lens for all intents and purposes. Great Pyramid Giza lens. The Great Pyramid Lens of Giza. That's what I'm going to start nicknaming everything. And the gravitational focal points, also known as the King, Queen, and subterranean chambers, located in the center line of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, say you wanted to boost the gravitational energy density in the core of this pyramid, what you would do is load up the King's Chamber, Queen's Chamber, the subterranean chamber with dense material. What kind of dense material? Gold is one of your densest materials on the planet. So if you wanted to make a change in the Hawaiian hotspot, you would increase the, you would deliver the gold reserves on the planet and place them inside here. You would close up all these shafts that were all blown up and everything with granite plugs to keep the gravitational wave centered in the center line, and that'll boost the gravitational field. It'll pull this direction. It pulls up. These things pull up. It will actually raise the water level and the surrounding area because of the gravitational pull that these massive lenses have. So with that in mind, that's kind of what's going on here. You know, you get it's the center line. They're not perfectly in line with each other, but for the most part, it's the center line of the pyramid, and that's what it's about. You know, that's what it's all about. I'm going to get into why one would put gold into these chambers in a few more seconds. Okay, we're getting into pyramid designs out there in Egypt. These are great. You got Saqqara, a medium, Dashur North, Dashur South, Giza Khufu, Giza Khafre, Giza Menkaure. Okay, they all have focal points in them. Some of the pyramids down in Central South America, I think, they built the dense material inside of them. I shouldn't say that because people are going to be like burrowing holes in there trying to see if there's anything left. But these things allowed you to go in and replace this dense material because I think it breaks down over time and increase the the gravitational pull of fields on these pyramids. Also, when you open a pyramid up, you disable it. So having these little doorways, actually, when you open them up, you disable it because you're bypassing the gravitational fields. You're injecting, you're allowing the wave to come in through the shafts, and basically neutralize the gravitational density in those focal points. Mind you, though, these focal points are all empty. There's no material in them. They're all gone. So, but they were at one time. They were full with probably gold. Now, if you go back to the Anunnaki with Zecharia Sitchin, I think I said that right, Zecharia Sitchin, in when his interpretations of the Sumerian text with the Anunnaki, they had to have gold for their atmosphere, right? I mean, that's all it said. Well, this is your atmosphere, and this is where the gold goes to protect your atmosphere. Whether you want to eject, there's one of three different things that these pyramids can do. One of them is you can put a lot of these pyramids online by increasing the density inside the focal points and cause a runaway volcanic eruption on multiple parts of the planet, exhausting aerosol and sulfur into the upper atmosphere. This acts like a giant mirror or giant reflector, reflects the Earth's sunlight, the sun's sunlight radiation, and cool the place down in a heartbeat, Or you could do it nice and slowly, you know what I mean? So this gives you the nice and slowly option with these pyramids. Okay? So if you wanted to, you could get these things closed up, put the high density material